What is it like working inside of a startup? So, Startup Diaries is what I want to answer that question with. A little mini series where I just document the process working inside of a startup, and we make some cool YouTube videos out of it and sort of document the process, the pros, the cons, the wins, the losses, the hardships, everything in between. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, come for the ride with me, and let's see what is in store for today. So process number one of the day that we got out of the way was the morning meetings, the dreaded morning meetings we all love. You have to get up early. I'm someone who doesn't really like to get up too early. So I just whack on a hoodie, go and see like the morning emails and everything, the communications before the meeting, what the agenda of the meeting is going to have, etc. Then we just hop straight into the work day, literally 5-10 minutes after getting out of bed sort of. But moving on from that, today was a big focus on paid advertising, getting our campaigns set up for the week, because we do have some events that we're doing where we do want some decent turnout, so we decided to chuck some very limited budget at it. It's very rare that we would do some paid advertising, but we have identified this certain event or run of events rather as high priority, and we want the maximum engagement, maximum turnout possible. So we have decided to chuck a bit of money behind it. In the grand scheme of things, it's not really a lot of money. So some marketing executives or people who do work in paid media would be, sort of spending the 4 or 5 figure mark every single week. It was a very low 3-figure amount that I set up. So it shows the, when there is budget to use, it's very limited budget, and that is a regular thing to come across within startup world. Obviously, a lot of our focus is on the organic reach and how we can sort of work with what we have and make the most out of it. So that is what we have done up until now. We wanted a little bit extra reach, so some paid advertising was on today's agenda. Now, it's the first ever time I've done paid advertising through LinkedIn. I've done it for Facebook and Instagram numerous times before, but it's the first time I've ever done it for LinkedIn, so it's a new experience for me. As a sort of the telltale of working in a startup is there will always be new things that you do on a day-to-day basis. Now, I've been in my job role nearly a year now. I've never touched paid LinkedIn advertising. To be honest, it's a testament to how well our organic reach is and our organic engagement is, to where we haven't had any need to use paid advertising. But nonetheless, it was a process that we had to run through, and I had to learn almost on the spot. I had like 30 minutes to not only set up the advertisement itself, but also set up all the content behind it, which luckily I edited the night before. So it was a bit of a low effort task, but still had to run through all of the metrics we wanted to hit for that specific advertisement, which was a bit of a pain to deal with. It's, again, something I've never done before, but overall a good process. It went out and is currently performing very well, so very happy. Also, today has been a very big email day. Those of you that do work in marketing know that your emails do get stacked very quickly, and if you spend some time working on a bit of a larger task and you sort of forget your emails for a few hours, they can start to ramp up a considerable amount, and by the time you've looked at a nice clear opened inbox, and then 2 hours later you've had your focus on other projects or important projects, you open up your email and there's like 16-17 new ones there for you to go through, and half of them you have to reply to. So it can be a bit of a time sink, and those of you that do work in any sort of office environment probably have to deal with it on a day-to-day basis, but it does remain a bit of an annoying thing that we have to deal with on that day-to-day. So one of the things I sort of want to make a full video about eventually is how I got inside of the position I'm in now currently, how I got the job role, what are the steps that I went through, what was the interview process like, what did my CV look like to allow me to sort of crush the rest of the competition in a way, what was that process looking like. I do want to sort of build up like a resource bank that you guys could use for the purpose of building a better CV, what are the processes you have to go through. I just sort of want to build like a little resource bank, maybe some CV templates, cover letter templates, because a lot of people go wrong in quite a few different sub areas, niche areas, while building a CV and writing a cover letter that a lot of people just don't really realise. And unfortunately, we're sort of in an age now where you don't actually get any response of why you didn't go through the first interview stage, or why you didn't even get an interview stage in the first place. You don't get any of that information. It's just sort of a no, we don't want you, move on sort of thing, which it can be a bit stressful at times because you don't know where you're going wrong if you are. And even when you feel like you're not going wrong, you're not getting any feedback to sort of put the idea in your head of, oh, I might be going wrong somewhere. That just doesn't really exist. One of the biggest perks that I have come across while working inside of a startup environment is just the level of mentorship that you get on a day-to-day basis. It's actually quite ridiculous how much guidance you can get when you are a junior, surrounded by a bunch of seniors, even surrounded by a bunch of executive level people, sort of in their mid-20s, late 20s, who've been in the job a few years, but because they have also worked in a startup environment, they have been given tasks that do just elevate, that just accelerate their progression massively. Because again, the process I literally did just now is I started an advertisement when I've never done LinkedIn advertising before. I set up some paid media. I've never done that before on LinkedIn, and they literally just told me what to do, gave me the responsibility, gave me a tiny bit of a helping hand, but ultimately it was up to me to go and execute. And that is something where I feel like some companies, some bigger companies, don't allow younger people to do, is to take on responsibility and to execute. Where working inside of a startup environment, you do get that every single day. If you're not someone who isn't gonna be proactive and doesn't want to make a change every single day, whether it's in terms of improving a process or maybe creatively coming up with a different idea to promote an event or a product or the service that you might offer in your company, you will get squeezed out quite early on. But then also you probably will, you'll put yourself in a situation where you will be asked a lot of questions like, oh, what do you want from us in terms of development? How can we help you? Blah, blah, blah. The experience I've had thus far has been a lot of responsibility has been given my way, but then they're always over my shoulder, sort of checking and making sure, and then giving pointers here and there, just to allow my growth to not just be one-sided of where I feel like I'm doing everything and I'm getting no help. Because some startup environments I think would be like that. So obviously it's getting lucky with having good mentors around you and good seniors around you, but overall it's been an incredibly positive experience thus far. Creatively as well, I don't think I've had as much opportunity in my working career before to express myself in a way that I'm currently doing in the job role that I have now. Because if you work in a bigger corporation, you are expected to regulate under their guidelines, under their, whether it's brand guidelines or if they just have a certain way that they like to work, that they're not too accepting of really out there ideas. Where when you're working in a startup, you're doing everything possible to generate new ideas, to build upon a small audience, to facilitate on bigger engagement and to improve metrics on no budget. So you do have to have a bit of a mental mindset to be able to think, we can do this mental thing that would sort of force people to comment and engage with our post. That way it gets pushed out further. Obviously there's levels to it. You can't turn into a bit of a psycho with your posting and talk about some wild things, but there are definitely caveats to be able to take advantage of when you are focusing on just the organic engagement, to push a post further than it would if you sort of were doing the bog standard typical corporate style content. And you see that with probably the stuff on TikTok. You look at like the Ryanair's TikTok and Duolingo, their TikTok channels are exceptional because they've just hired a social media, probably just a TikTok manager, not even a social media manager. They've just hired a TikTok manager to create some videos for them, and they're receiving millions upon millions of impressions, which are just ingraining the brand in people's head. So absolutely fantastic use of organic content, I think, and being able to ingrain that same mentality but still keeping somewhat corporate, just to keep seniors happy and not to make them feel super uncomfortable, I think is something that could lead to exceptional results and look very good for a junior such as myself to do. So this is something I'm working on, in the sense of being a bit more guerrilla marketing-esque with the content that we're putting out, just to gauge, just to really improve those metrics. And then also those metrics are tied to myself, so it makes me look better within my role as well. So that's kind of what we want for development. So this idea of just being able to sort of slot into any task that you're being asked to do is really key, I think, if you're working for more so the very smaller startups, the startups that do have small teams, being able to sort of be multi-skilled with a range of different tasks within a broad niche, I think is very important and will allow you to stand out, especially while doing your job role. if your job role is marketing executive, but you run SEO, you run PPC, you run social media, you run web development, you run brand development, then you become a very, very valuable asset to the business. And obviously your personal development is only going to get stronger throughout them, because the company that you are employed at, that do value you so highly, would want to give you all the training, all the mentoring that they deem fit for you to be able to succeed and continuing to grow within that role. But then also in terms of moving forward, there's absolutely no reason why some of your work couldn't hit mainstream news, and then headhunters coming in, and then obviously you get salary bumps and title bumps and new offers, new opportunities or whatever. Those are a lot more prominent. They're moving from one big company to another big company. Usually the big companies tend to headhunt from the startup environment. So if you can make a good impression while you're working within a startup, then there's no reason why a big company can come knocking at your door and shooting you a LinkedIn message to say, hey, we got this job opportunity, we think you're a good fit, do you have time for a call, blah blah blah. It's happened to me once. I've had one headhunter message me before, and the offer was a bit so I didn't, I was progressing well with the company I'm at now, so I didn't really have to entertain it. But yeah, I do have some more work to crack on with. It's been a very busy day thus far. In terms of us having multiple projects to get done within a very short time frame, I do have a lot of writing to do today, which is a little bit of a pain. Writing is obviously a bit of a longer task that you can't really avoid. Video editing, if you just put the time in, you could cut through a video, add some effects, blah blah blah, really quickly. But then a piece of written content, you do have to make sure it sounds right, and obviously the tonality is equal to what the brand tonality is and everything, and it's a partnership piece of content as well, so we have to talk like the other brand as well. There's a whole shebang around it, which makes it even more time consuming. And time consuming isn't really the best word I want to hear when working in a startup. Obviously time is one of the most valuable assets that you don't have much of. You don't have much budget, you don't have much you don't have too many helping hands on like a big company would, but you also don't have a lot of time because there's so much to get done. Obviously time constraints are there, and they are prevalent, and they can sometimes be stressful. However, I want to make a video about like time blocking, of how to like set up your calendar, how to set up your workday for success, of how to set up your calendar for success within a workday. You probably heard some Slack messages right there, but yeah, I think it's important to be able to set up your timing correctly, because you don't want to be working late in the evening. You don't want to be feeling like you have to get up at 6:30, 7 o'clock and then instantly jump on the computer 2 hours before your shift is even supposed to start. Those things create a very unhealthy life to work relationship, and those hours should be used for your own personal development and well-being anyway. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. I want to make these fairly regularly as I can, because the workload's a bit crazy. But yeah, if you did enjoy, do leave a comment down below of what you want to see. I gave a couple like video suggestion ideas within this video that I wanted to do, but if you did have any, please leave in the comments down below. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel for more content. I hope to see you guys soon. Take care and peace.